Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. Just a quick sort of like catch up with you all today. Yesterday I spent about 4 or 5 hours cleaning records. So I've cleaned all these LPs here, and then I cleaned a load of singles. So I've got all these singles here, all these singles here, and then all these singles here. So there's 40 odd singles that I've cleaned, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and there's 12 sort of like LPs and 12-inch singles. I have played some of them now as well, so I'm just going to like tell you what I think of the things that I've played, and hopefully I can remember how much I paid for them as well. But just to tell you what the sound quality is like and everything, I will start off with this Revolver LP that I picked up from Belper about a week and a half ago, nearly 2 weeks ago. It's an original UK mono pressing. I did pay quite a bit for this. I paid £35. But I mean, it didn't really need a clean as such, because I did play it before I cleaned it, and I've played it after I've cleaned it as well. It has come up really, really nice and shiny. And I must admit, it plays absolutely amazing. I've played it on my Sony record deck, which is up there, fitted with a Audio Technica cartridge, and it sounds absolutely amazing. I've also played it on my old Gerhard deck, which is down here, which is just mono, and it sounds amazing on that as well. So I think, you know, that was a really, really good price. I'm not saying it's the cheapest copy of Revolver I've ever bought, but it sure as hell is one of the nicest sounding ones I've ever had. There's hardly any crackle or background noise in it at all. You know, if you listen really, really carefully, then yes, there is a little bit, but nothing too drastic. So I think that is probably one of the best I've ever bought, to be honest. Then we've got the John Lennon and Yoko Ono Double Fancy. This is what my friend from the Vinyl Vault actually sent me as like a gift. It did come on Friday. I didn't get a chance to open it till Sunday. I cleaned it yesterday and I played it, and it's absolutely amazing. It sounds fantastic. It sounds a lot crisper than the UK version, if that makes sense. I mean, to be honest, this didn't need a clean, so but I just gave it one anyway because I was cleaning the rest of the records. And it's brought a new sort of like warmth and depth to this record that I've never actually heard on the UK pressings. So yeah, thank you again, the Vinyl Vault. Don't forget to check his channel out. Yeah, a fantastic gift, and it, you know, I think this might be my go-to copy now for this album. It's like I can just, because I don't think this was remixed, was it? I don't think so. I think the mixes on this are exactly the same as the UK copy, but it just shows you that sometimes a record can absolutely look fantastic, but then, you know, you play it and it sounds okay, and then another time it still looks fantastic. So you still clean it and then it sounds fantastic as well. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. The next one, I'm not going to show you all these, folks, so don't worry, is this one, which we did a video on, was it yesterday or the day before? This came in the post again on Friday. Didn't have time to play it or anything before I did the video. I did think this would actually sound quite nice anyway. Let's move them out of the way. So I've cleaned it. Again, it probably didn't really need a clean. I've put a new anti-static sleeve, as I have with the Double Fancy one as well, and it's come up looking like virtually a brand new record. Again, I've played it and it sounds fantastic. It's on par with any original 1960s Beatles pressing, even some of the 1970s ones. I have had a lot of comments on this, to be honest. A lot of people do say it is an original 60s pressing from France, but it's from 1966 and not 1965, something to do slightly different label variation. But for what I paid for that, I can't really moan, because it sounds amazing, and I do mean it sounds amazing. And it's still something nice and different to have for a UK record collector. So there's that one. Then there's this one. The other day, this is what we featured when I showed how to clean a record, and it's Paul and Linda McCartney's. Bam. Now, in all honesty, this wasn't in the best condition anyway. I'd only given it a quick sort of like play when I first had it, and I only played one side and it sounded okay. I cleaned it yesterday and it jumped. It jumped on a couple of tracks, and I'm thinking, oh my god. So I cleaned this 3 times. I cleaned it 3 times yesterday. Then I played it about half an hour later and it didn't jump. It sounded really wonderful. A little bit of background noise on that one. But this is the one where I've got, like, was it 10 albums and a couple, well, 8 albums and a couple of 12-inch singles for like £12 or something. That's I think it was £15 with the postage. So that is quite a nice sounding copy. Now, it's not the best one I've got, don't get me wrong, but same for what I paid for it, I think it's actually, you know, very, very acceptable. I think that's enough for the LPs. I think we'll go now for more of some of the singles, because I did have a lot of comments on the singles. If you remember, I got a box set in the post, which was these, but then I did get some, I mean, there's still a couple in there that I didn't get a chance to do yesterday, but they were more the Paul McCartney ones and things like that I will do it the next time I'm cleaning. Yeah, so there's 40 in there, and then there was about 10 or 12 that I got from Belper, weren't they? All the ones that I got from Belper I have cleaned and played. So I'll go through them one by one, if that's okay, folks. I will just put my glasses on for a couple of secs, because I don't know if the pollen's high or because it's been raining, it's, you know, the pollen's been moving, but my eyes are a little bit sore, so I'll just put these on. Like I say, I've played all these. These are the ones that we got from Belper. Same place we got the Revolver from. So the first one is this one. I Should Have Known Better by the Naturals. Now, if you look on certain internet sites or Discogs and eBay and things like that, this is actually quite a rare record. I can't actually remember what paid for this, because they did it really weird, where they put the thing inside the sleeve. £4. The going rate for this is anywhere between £10 and £20 usually. It has come up really nice. I mean, it was quite dirty, so this has come up really nice. Don't get me wrong, it's not mint. It plays nice. The only thing I will say is, yeah, it is the song I Should Have Known Better, but it's nowhere near as good as the Beatles version. It's completely different. I don't know who the Naturals were. I don't know if this was the only ever single they ever had. Don't get me wrong, it is good, but it's not a patch on the Beatles version. And looking at this, I did say on the B side it was a song called Didn't I? Question mark, published by Dick James Music, and then it says L. Con there, the person who wrote it. Now I'm just wondering, was that Leslie Con or Les Con, who was one of the first managers of David Bowie, or Davy Jones as it was at the time, and he actually wrote, Les Con wrote Liza Jane, which we featured, was on about on the David Bowie video from a few weeks ago. The sleeves are okay. I've ordered some more of these sleeves, but when the original ones aren't that bad, because I'm going to put these in like outer sleeves as well. I think the original ones, if they're okay and in one piece, I will keep them like that. So yeah, so that was good for saying that was only £4. I don't know what I was expecting, but like I say, it is a really, really nice rendition. But to me, it doesn't sound as good as the Beatles version. It's not quite as fast, it's a little bit slower. Then we've got this one. I was really, really pleased to get this one. This was it was £10, wasn't it? Yeah, this one was £10, and it is he says it's a single by The Move. And I've got to try and get another sleeve for this though. And this is the only single that the Move released, sort of thing, that never charted at the time, believe it or not. But yeah, it's a lovely song, and it's Wild Tiger Woman. And again, this has come up really nice. Played it yesterday, sounds fantastic. The B-side, Omnibus, I think if this would have been classed as a double A side, I think it would have possibly got higher in the charts, because Wild Tiger Woman, though it's a really, really nice song, it's more of a sort of rocking song than what the Move, because the Move was sort of like, although they did wonderful, wonderful singles, sometimes they weren't took that serious, was they? And I think that was the Move trying to be a little bit more serious, and I think it sort of like backfired. They'd done it as a double A side and had that, you know, Omnibus as like a double A side, but I think that would have actually charted. Again, £10. I couldn't find one on Discogs. Was it yesterday I looked? Was it the day before? I can't remember. But I couldn't find one. When I looked, I couldn't find one. I did find one on eBay, and they wanted something daft like 40 quid for it. And that was without the original company sleeve. Excuse me one sec. Then we've got this one. I still think this was probably the bargain of the day when we went to Belper. And it's an original first UK pressing of My Generation by The Who. I did actually do a little video of this yesterday. I was going to do it as a short, and it went on a little bit longer. But I've got a hell of a lot of likes for it and views. But I did get a message from YouTube saying you have got a copyright claim. Not a copyright strike, it's a copyright claim. Viewed the details. So I viewed the details, and apparently it's not affecting my video. You know, people can still watch the video and everything. It's just in certain countries it'll be muted or it will be took down. So I haven't got to do anything. But I was a little bit naughty, to be honest. But yeah, fantastic song. That again, this has come up really, really nice. It has still got a few light marks on it, but it's a lot better than what it was. And the sound quality on this was amazing. And that shout and shimmy on the B side is quite funny, because it starts off and you just think you're going, well, you make me want to shout and shimmy, and that's but you think it's going to be shout. So yeah, that was £6, by the way. £6. I did have a comment off one of my subscribers when I did the video of this yesterday, which I say went on for a little bit longer than I originally intended. I think I was just tired after cleaning all the records, and I just thought, I thought I'd done it so it would just be a short, but it didn't. It went on for the whole duration, which was about 2 minutes or something. And a subscriber says, oh yeah, that fantastic record, I had the original on Brunswick, but you couldn't really see the label on there, but this is the original on Brunswick. These usually go for around the £30 to £40 mark on certain sites. I'm not saying that's what that one's worth. Then we've got this one by Cliff Bennett, One Way Love, an original Parlophone sleeve, which I think is vintage to this. Again, this wasn't that bad. I've cleaned it. That side was the A side, which is actually quite a catchy sort of like pop tune, but I got it for the B side, which was Slow Down. And again, the other day, I think it was Saturday, I did do a little video of that playing on my old Gerhard deck down here. I know I shouldn't have really done it, and I did get a copyright claim, but again, they said it's not a strike, it's not a copyright strike, so you know, I don't have to take the video down. I mean, if they wanted me to take it down, I'd take it down. And again, I did get a lot of comments on this, and when I listened to it, it like reminded me more, not like a rock and roll song, which it is by Larry Williams, and then of course the Beatles did a fantastic version of it. It sounds to me more like an early ska sort of like song, the way it's done. I mean, that might just be me, you tell me what you think, but fantastic song. I don't know how much this one was, to be honest. £5 for that. See, that's what they did, they put it just there, look, so it's very hard to see. Yeah, £5 that was. I think that was a bargain, actually. Then we've got Trains and Boats and Planes by Billy Joe Kramer. and that's the way I feel on the B-side. Again, this has come up really, really nice. Played this, it's played absolutely perfect. No problems whatsoever. So it just shows you, folks, doesn't it? You know, there's still bargains to be had out there, whether you're record digging or going on eBay, or, you know, going to record fairs, going to car boots. Then we've got this. This is the one that I wanted the most out of all those when I saw it, before I'd played any of them, I think, because I am a big Hollies fan. I loved the early Hollies up to the time when like Graham Nash left. I think they are a very, very underrated British band in a lot of ways. It was classed as a singles band, but yet some of their albums are absolutely fantastic. But this was one of their songs that didn't really sound like the Hollies. Because it's a bit of like a psychedelic song. King Midas in reverse. He's King Midas in reverse. He's King Midas with a curse. Fantastic song. Played it. It sounds absolutely great. It sounds like a brand new record, to be honest. I don't think that one has got much play wear on it anyway. You know, if you hold up to a bright light, yes, there is some hairline marks in it, but it doesn't jump, no crack or anything. And the B-side to that is Everything Is Sunshine. And that was, how much was that one? I don't know. I don't actually know how much that one was. But I think I got that one for free anyway. Fantastic song. If you ever see that one out in the wild, I'd ask you or advise you to get it. If you don't know what it sounds like and you've got streaming devices where you can get music downloads for free, like, or whatever, just put it in, King Midas in Reverse by the Hollies, and you'll be surprised how much it doesn't. I mean, you can tell it is the Hollies, but it doesn't sound like a typical Hollies song, if that makes sense. Then we've got these, the green like issue ones. They've all come up really, really, really well. No problem with them whatsoever. And then there's that one. Which again was all from the same place in Belper. I have got to try and get them stickers off there. I don't know what to get them stickers off with. Then we've got this that I've had for a while, but because I was cleaning, I thought I'd clean this one as well, which is the Hare Krishna Mantra by the Radha Krishna Temple, London. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Again, it's come up really, really well, but I don't think this has had a lot of play anyway by the looks of it. What's that? These are quite rare, to be honest. There's that one. Then the Mary Hopkin ones. Can you remember I got so many Mary Hopkin songs, didn't I? Was it 3 or 4? I've only got 2 on here. I did clean them and I put them in black sleeves. Again, they play fine. One of them did have quite a bit of few marks on it, which isn't that one, which I think might have been. No, that one's come up as alright as well. Look, Mary Hopkin. Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. So they're all alright. So far, no problems whatsoever. Then these are a couple that I've put into new sleeves, or newer sleeves. These are reproduction sleeves for these, by the way. So that is Eleanor Rigby and Yellow Submarine. These are some that came in that mystery box. And they've come out really, really nice. Played this one. Again, it sounds fantastic. Both sides. I have been doing a little bit of research on some of these singles. These are the ones that we got from, that was in that box, which was in this box here, that I opened, was it last weekend? Which was it, 40 Beatles singles for £30 or something. And I have, oh, if I can do it, started to look at some of them in this book, and some of them are actually quite, not rare as in mega rare, but are quite rare as in they're worth quite a bit of money, if that makes sense. I don't know if I've got any of them here, to be honest. Oh, that was those other two Mary Hopkins ones, by the way. Yeah. Then you've got I Feel Fine and She's a Woman, again in a new sleeve. And that one's quite nice. One of my, that's probably my favourite Beatles single ever. This one, I Feel Fine and She's a Woman, and Paperback Writer, Back to Remain. I think they are. I don't ever know which one is my favourite single, but they're both like my favourite, if that makes sense. But I just want to show you what that looks like compared to, you've got that compared to that. So although that is a reproduction sleeve, it does actually look a little bit better. But when I've ordered some more of these, but they're more like that. So when they come, they will put into new sleeves, but then the old one I'll keep in the plastic bag with it, if that makes sense. What is that one anyway? This is Ticket to Ride. That one's come up quite nice. There's a few marks on it just there, which I don't know if you can see. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. Again, plays nice. The B side actually plays better on that than the A side. Probably because the A side was played more than the B side. No jumps or anything, but there was a little bit of crackle on Ticket to Ride. But having said that, you've got to remember that's from 1965, and that is actually older than me. Then we've got She Loves You, and there's about 100,000 million different label types for this. No, it's not that many, but there's quite a few different label types for this, and it all depends. Some say recording first published, some don't. Some just say Northern Songs, some say Northern Songs NCB, and then it's something to do with the style of the writing as well. So I've got to do a bit more research on that one. I don't think it's going to ever be worth loads and loads of money, but it's nice to know if you think that's worth £1, say, and then you suddenly find that it's worth £25. It's nice, isn't it? I still haven't decided what I'm doing with these, by the way. I did say I was thinking of maybe upgrading them with the ones I've already got, so anything better, swap them over, and then maybe putting them on eBay or something like that. This one's actually quite rare, From Me to You. The third single, or the third UK single. This has got some marks on it though. It's not in brilliant condition, but having said that, plays fantastic. If you play this on me old Gerhard deck, which is like what these would have been played on and back in the day, because they're mono record decks, it sounds okay. It doesn't sound too bad, but when you play it on a newer record deck, say like my Sony one or my Technics one, you can hear more background noise on it, which is a bit strange, isn't it? Again, there's a lot of label variations on this, but I do think this is actually quite a early one, and it's funny because it says McCartney Lennon on there instead of Lennon and McCartney, which doesn't make it rare, by the way. That doesn't make it rare. Then we've got Hey Jude in a reproduction apple sleeve, which I think this is an issue from around 1969 to 1971, because you still got the manufactured in the UK just there, but you don't get the sold in the UK text, and it isn't a push out centre, it's a solid centre, and some of these are actually worth more than the 1968 pressings, which is a bit daft, isn't it? Revolution, that one's actually come up quite nice. Apple single sleeves or 45 sleeves, company sleeves like this, were originally released in matte black like that, and then they was released in a gloss black like that. So these reproduction ones are matte black, which makes them look a bit strange compared to that, but the majority of them came like that. That is more from the 1970s, the shiny one, so I've been told. And if you want any of these, it's, what have I paid for these? £4.99 for 10 of these company covers, and I've just ordered 40 of the Parlophone ones, and that is off eBay, by the way. This is Get Back. See that is a solid centre, but you've still got the sold in the UK text there, so that Hey Jude must be after this, although it was, the song came out originally before this. Get what I'm saying? Don't let me down. The only thing with that is there's a nasty scratch just there. You can just see it there. Yeah, just there, look. Oh, there. But it plays fine. So it's strange, isn't it? That's the Hopkin one. And this one is that All You Need Is Love. Now, I do know I've got an original. Well, not an original. I've got a better sleeve for that somewhere. That was one that was in that green sleeve, but it is actually an original. It's not a reissue. So that one's that's come up. That's come up really, really nice. There was a copy of Strawberry Fields Forever here somewhere, if I can find it. There's a copy of this which is Strawberry Fields Forever, and I do know I've got an original sleeve for this somewhere in my box down here, which I'm going to sort out. Now this has come out really, really nice. It does actually look really, really shiny, and it is really, really shiny. It's not just the light. That one is really, really shiny. No no scratches on this whatsoever, or on Penny Lane. It has got a KT tax code there. I don't know if you can see that. KT. But the strange thing about this is a solid centre, which again is supposed to like make it slightly rarer. I don't know why. So if you said like a bog standard one of these in a company sleeve like this with the push out centre. That is a push out centre, by the way, when it's like that. So that's a solid centre. Was worth, say, £15. If it's a solid centre, it's worth nearly twice as much. Which to me doesn't really make sense. Fantastic song. Is that the best single the Beatles ever released? I do know a lot of Beatles fans are quite knocked, if that's the right word, that this was kept off the #1 spot by Please Release Me by Engelbert Humperdinck. Should have been a #1, shouldn't it? When you think how inventive that was, or how ahead of its time, even, you know, when it was released, that single was to anything that had become anything by the Beatles that had come before it. It probably is an injustice that it didn't get to #1. It got to #2, but not #1. I don't know where. I think because Penny Lane was classed as the A-side, wasn't it, in America, where this was a double A-side in the UK. Did Penny Lane get to #1 in America? I can't remember, to be honest. I was only 1 when it came out. Well, actually I was about 3 months old when this came out. Fantastic song, again, one of my all-time favourites. And again, this is one of those where they have no long sleeves. Eleanor Rigby and Yellow Submarine on a solid centre. Again, this has come up really, really nice. And this is one where different. So I just realised that one on there says Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever, so I'll put that in that one. Yeah, again, I've seen copies of this Yellow Submarine on a solid centre going on certain internet selling sites, and they want like £80 for it. Is it worth £80? I don't know. I personally wouldn't pay £80 for it, but having said that, I've got a few copies of that with the solid centre in it, so if I hadn't got one, would I pay £80 for it? You know, just to be a completist, I don't know. Probably at the moment I won't, because I'm a bit skint, to be honest, but you know. We've got another copy of For Me to You. See, that is actually, the word in there is slightly bigger, isn't it, than the one on the other one. So they're all slightly different, aren't they? That one came up nice, didn't it? Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love. Again, there's that many label variations on some of these. It's going to take me weeks to research what pressings are. That's if I can be bothered to do them, to be honest. But you can't do that. And that is actually in really, really nice condition. That is in really nice condition. Again, I've played that one and it did sound really, really nice. The other one that I played, just changing it slightly, is I played this, which is the 12-inch version of When We Was Fab by George Harrison, and I thought this was a bit of a mick take because I know what George's sense of humour was like. So side one is When We Was Fab, unextended mix it says, or unextended version, then zigzag. Side two is That's the Way It Goes remix, and then When We Was Fab reversed ending. And I thought, well, what does that mean? And it is, the ending is all reversed. It's opposite way round, which was a bit strange. Especially when you're like just listening and you think what the ending usually goes like, and then you sort of like get with what? Right, what else we got? I Want to Hold Your Hand. Again, this is an original sleeve. And this one has come quite nice. And I did play this and it did sound really, really nice. And that was even on like the modern deck. Or the newer deck, shall we say. So I don't think I really did bad. I mean, all these records, if you put them all together, they've cost me what? They've cost me 80, 110. Just over £140. All of these records have cost me in total, and if you went on book price, even on things like the lowest prices and stuff on eBay or whatever, I think these would be worth a hell of a lot more than that. Well, I know they are, because a decent copy, a mono copy Revolver, a decent one's going to cost you best part of £70, £50 to £70. Okay, I paid 35, so you know, most of these singles are going to be worth between £3 to £10 each, I should imagine. This is a reissue Get Back in a reproduction sleeve, and that one's come up really, really nice, look. And Don't Let Me Down doesn't seem like it's been played. Let's see if there's any more that we can find us. Another She Loves You, another We Can Work It Out, another Yellow Submarine there. Hello Goodbye. Played this one, Hello Goodbye. Again, this looked really, really dusty and really, really filthy. Bear in mind, I've only cleaned all these singles just once, and that's really, really nice. Don't know if I can get that sticker off or not. In one way, I don't try in case it ruins the label. I'm the Walrus sounded absolutely fantastic. Again, I played that on my old Gerhard deck, which is what most of these records would have been played on when they were new. And I don't know if it's just me in my hearing, but sometimes if you play like vintage records on a vintage deck, they do sound more sort of like bassy, is that the right word? Or richer in sound than what they do when you play them on newer stereo decks going through stereo amps. But then again, they weren't made to go through stereo amps, where they've answered me and questioned the answer. Help. This has come up nice. That did play really nice yesterday. And then we've got I'm Down. See, some of the Parlophone sleeves are wavy and others of them are straight. Even things like that can make a difference to the record, you know. I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is the record that started it all off for the Beatles in America. That came up really, really nice. Paperback Writer. That came up nice as well. And Rain. So out these singles that came in that box, there was 40, and I think I cleaned about 35 of them, and then the other singles that I got from the few weeks before. Something. This is the one where it looks nice, but there is some marks on it. You probably can't see them on that, but again, it does play. And this one is slightly the other way around, because the Ballad of John and Yoko, the single before this, was the first Beatles single in the UK to be released in stereo. So up until Get Back, all the original Beatles singles are in mono. So that one, if you play that on that Gerhard deck, doesn't sound as good as it does if you play it on a newer stereo deck. Does that make sense? Or the B-side to that was Come Together, which sounds fantastic. No matter what deck you play that on, it sounds really, really nice. It's not that bad, to be honest. But I think that was one that's had a hell of a lot of play during its lifetime anyway. Like I said on my video about cleaning records, a cleaning machine does not get rid of scratches or marks. Or certain marks it can get rid of, like fingerprints and stuff like that, can get rid of. But if you've got a scratch or something, then you've got a scratch on it. My Sweet Lord came out absolutely fantastic. Not Cold Turkey, Instant Karma. And that's the one when I looked at it and I said, oh, it's full, got loads and loads of scratches on it. I've cleaned it and it hasn't. And we all shine on, like the moon and the stars and the sun. Oh, shine on, everyone, come on. Great song. It's a shame that never got to #1 in the UK. And then we've got what we've got left out of them. We've got another one of We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper. That's got the parlophone text up here, which by this time it should have said the gramophone text. I've got to check that one out. We've got a copy of Imagine with Working Class here on the back, and then we've got A Hard Day's Night, which is in its original sleeve, I think. And again, I did play this one and it sounded absolutely gorgeous in full dimensional mono. Nicely. So I don't think, I know, yes, to buy it as a whole collection, which I didn't, I bought it in separate job lots, didn't I, sort of thing. So you've got £30 for the 40 singles, which is these. We've got £80 for the other singles and the Revolver album and the David Bowie album, which is up there. And then there was £12 for the LPs down there, and then there was 10p, wasn't it, for the Mary Hopkin records. I can remember it came to something like £2.90 something, didn't it, with the postage, or £3. Yeah. So like, I think I've done okay, folks. I really do think I've done okay. Just a quick few mentions. The other day I think I've already said this, I did play a record all the way through on my Gerhard deck, Slow Down by Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, and I did have a few people like say, Dave, why don't you do this as like, you know, an occasional sort of like video series, you know, Beatle Dave Saturday Spins or something like that. And I would love to do it. I really, really would love to do it. The only thing is, I don't want to upset YouTube. So I think you can buy some sort of license, but I think you've got to have a hell of a lot more subscribers than what I've got. Don't get me wrong, I love the amount of subscribers I've got, but I think you've got to have something like 10,000 subscribers or something. See, years ago I used to do mobile disco, so I used to have what they call a PRS license, Performing Rights Society license, because then every song you play, technically, because you've bought that license, they'll get every artist in the UK, say, gets a percentage of the royalties. But I don't think you can use that on YouTube. I could be wrong, don't be wrong, I could be wrong, and I probably am. I think you have to buy some sort of license through YouTube. But then what gets me is, you watch some YouTube videos and there's people that will play a whole album all the way through. So how do they get away with that? You know, that is the one thing I really do want to start to do, is to do needle drops and things like that. Yes, I know if you only do like up to 15 seconds, I think you're okay. 10 to 15 seconds, I think you're okay. But it's like if I played you, if you didn't know what I'm the Walrus sounded like, for instance, and I played you 10 to 15 seconds of it, you still really wouldn't know what it sounded like, would you? Because it's that weird song and varied all the way through that song, isn't it? So that is something that I'm hoping to do. No, my throat's very dry today. The other thing I was commented on was about maybe doing some live questions and answers streams, which I think I might do a poll on. I think I'm going to do a poll on that. As long as it's all nice and civil and, you know, took us a little bit of fun, I don't mind doing it. And again, that is something that I would consider doing. I've had one of the biggest responses ever for a short. You know, one of these shorts videos that we do. Well, again, it wasn't really short, was it? Because no, the video I did for My Generation by The Who yesterday, that's got 700, well, when I looked more, just under 700 views for that. So it proves somebody likes it. What else was I going to say? Can't remember what else I was going to say now. Oh, another thing is, I don't usually do bits of news, but I do think I've got to say something about this, because this thing about this new Beatles single, which is going to be the last ever Beatles single, it's all starting to get a bit crazy and hearsay sort of thing, isn't it? I mean, everybody still thinks it's going to be this song Now and Then, but that hasn't even been confirmed. But the thing is, there was a great version of that on YouTube, and you know, it was all the Beatles on it sort of thing, and I think that was the closest they got to them doing it in the 1990s. And on that, I can remember there was a bit of Abbey Road where it goes, "Everybody's happy." That was mixed into it right near the end, right? And now they're saying that this new version, when it comes out, has got some of Because on it, so that George is singing on it. I don't know if that, I don't know how true this is. I've heard it off 2 or 3 sites. One was my old mate in America, Matthew Street. If you haven't checked his channel out, by the way, do so. Very, very entertaining channel. Who'd heard it from somebody else in America. Then I watched it on, was it me and Mr. Mayor was on about it as well. Now, I am one of the world's biggest Beatles fans. Anything the Beatles release, I love. But, you know, I'm still very, very excited about this new Beatles record coming out. But is it going to be a Beatles record? Is it just going to be like an extra on an album? Because now they're saying that it might be something to do because they're remixing the Red and the Blue albums. Well, weren't there just a reissue of them, a remasters of them a couple of years ago? So why the hell are they redoing? I mean, how many different versions of the Red and Blue albums do you want? I mean, I've got loads of copies of it, don't get me wrong, but the original 1973 versions, I don't think they have ever bettered. Whatever they're doing, they've never ever bettered that. Then somebody says that this new album, that this new song might be tucked on as a bonus track on a new like release of the anthology albums, which would make sense because Anthology 1 and Anthology 2 had Free as a Bird and Real Love, didn't they? Anthology 3 didn't have a new song on it, which Now and Then was in the contention for, wasn't it, in the 90s. So it is all getting a bit strange and weird and he says, she says sort of thing. So all I'm going to say on that is, people, just have a clear mind till we definitely know that there is going to be this new Beatles song. The dates going around now are September. It's going to be released in September, which isn't that far away if you think about it, is it? I mean, it's August, isn't it, in a couple of weeks. And then the other one is, it might be something to do with a Rubber Soul box set. Now, to me, I think the best thing Apple could do is just release it as a single in its own right. Don't bother with the 1962 to 66 and 67 to 70. There's plenty of versions that are out there. You know, it was only like a few years ago that they did the remastered versions of them, which do sound nice. Don't get me wrong, they do sound nice. But why remix it? You know, it's, you know, I can understand like some of the really, really old Beatles recordings from the early days. I can understand them trying to clean them up and things like that. Yeah, I'm all in favour of that, don't get me wrong. You know, something like the Star Club tapes or whatever, you know, when there was in Hamburg, they're crying out, aren't they, to have something done to them to get them up to, you know, a better standard, so that we can actually hear what the Beatles sound like. You can hear the energy. You know that it was playing, you know, really, really, really good and having, you know, the time of their life sort of thing when they was doing it. And because there's no pressure on them, because we weren't famous at the time, was the sort of thing. So, you know, but all this thing now about, you know, it's this and it's going to be that, and George is on it but then he's not on it. Ringo wasn't singing but now he is singing. He wasn't going to play the drums but now he's playing the drums. I'm going to say, whatever it is, I will enjoy it. I will appreciate it for what it is. There's a lot of criticism because they said George, when they was originally trying to finish this track off in the early 90s, didn't particularly like the song, right? Which I can understand. He was a member of the Beatles, right? But then you look back in the Beatles history, not every Beatles track on a single or an album featured all four Beatles, did it? I mean, yesterday was St. Paul, wasn't it, if you think about it? Ballad of John and Yoko was only John and Paul, you know, so they're still released as the Beatles, they want it. So does it matter if George isn't singing on it? I mean, it'll be nice if he is, don't get me wrong, it will be nice if he is, but it's not the end of the world if he isn't. Does that make sense? I want it to sound as real as it can do, if that makes sense. And I know that's hard because two of the people that are going to be on it are no longer with us. But with all the technology now, I don't want it to sound like some of these videos that are appearing on YouTube where it's like, what is it, Paul McCartney sings Good Vibrations or something, and there's like a thing like that, like a very botty thing, and then he starts to sing it, but there's certain bits of that song where it doesn't sound anything like Paul McCartney. A bit of it does sound a little bit like him, don't get me wrong. The best one I've seen of these, and I don't think it's on YouTube anymore, was they've got John Lennon, right, or artificial John Lennon, dressed up as a spaceman, right, on the moon, doing a version of Space Oddity by David Bowie. Now that did sound good. I'm not saying it would have been ideal to be released as a single or anything, but it did actually sound good. I would say 75% of that, when the thing was singing, did sound like John Lennon. But then I've heard other things, and it's getting stupid now, where you've got Elvis Presley singing songs that were released 30 years after he died and things like that. So, you know, I can sort of like understand it, like even like Paul McCartney singing a Beach Boys song. I can understand it for the fun bit of it, don't get me wrong, but there's a time and a place for it, and I think it's a bit like going into overkill now, or everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon. I'm not saying Apple's jumping on the bandwagon, because they're not doing it like that either. I think they've used the sort of technology that Peter Jackson used on the Get Back film, so that they could enhance the music and the instruments. I think that is what the Beatles have actually done in Apple, from certain sources I've heard. Again, how true that is, I don't know. So I don't think it's so much AI on this single as modern technology being used, which they did. You know, the Beatles was always at the front of technology when they was recording, weren't they? So in that way I can sort of like understand it, but you know, we've got to be realistic, folks. It's not a brand new Beatles song, is it? You know, Now and Then has been out for a while, hasn't it, on certain channels and things like that. If it is that song, I'd be quite happy, because I've always sort of like have enjoyed that song. But then, you know, we don't even know if it is that one, do we? And we don't even know if it is that one. So let's just keep an open mind. If I hear any more interesting news on it, I will pass it on. But like I say, I'm not a news channel. My mate Beatly Tones Beatles channel, you know, is more up to date for Beatles news and stuff like that. I'm more of a collector. But I just thought I got to say something, because I think it's getting a bit like silly season on this, and then you've got Beatles fans saying, well, I won't go out and buy it, or you haven't even heard it yet, so how can you say you're not going to buy something if you haven't heard it? You know, let's wait till we get some sort of official notification of when it's going to be released, and I'm sure as soon as they do that, they'll do some sort of promo for it, and, you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, we all enjoy it, and it'll get to #1 all over the world just in time for Christmas, like the good old days. Hey? Anyway, that's the end of this video. So if you have got all the way to the end, bloody hell, I didn't realise it'd gone on as long as this. I'm very, very sorry. I bet most of you have just gone straight from the beginning, watched about 5 minutes ago straight to the end of this, which I don't mind. I don't mind how you watch my videos. Whatever rocks your boat, sort of thing. Once again, thank you to everybody that's leaving me comments, leaving me likes, subscribing, supporting me, and basically just being there for me. If you watch this video and you've liked it, please think about leaving me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And if you haven't liked it and you're not subscribed, still subscribe, because there's a lot of videos out there now on this channel, so I'm sure there'll be something that you like. You are the Beatle Dave. Just once again, thank you to everybody that subscribed, and I do not, honestly do not know what's gone off. In a nice way, basically in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've doubled my subscriptions. But I do sort of like know why, because a lot of people have been viewing my videos. My viewing figures have gone sky high as well. So, but I still think it's down to people like Rachel's Ghost, who, you know, do promote my channel every now and again. So thank you, Rachel's Ghost. And then people like Beatly Tone, who sometimes promotes me or mentions me. People like Beatle Brad, who sometimes mentions me. You know, you've only got to have somebody watching one of their videos who's never heard of me, and then I think, oh yeah, I'll check out Beatle Dave. And I think that's what's happened. But I've also suddenly started to get a lot of people watching in Indian places like that, because there's a lot of Beatles fans in India and places like that, you know, Southeast Asia and things like that. So although I might be showing very, very common British Beatles singles in the UK, if you live outside the UK, these are probably more interesting to you than if you live in the UK. Probably, aren't they? Anyway, I love you all. Whatever you're doing, please stay safe. I'm sorry it's been such a long video, but you know me, sometimes I waffle on and waffle on and waffle on. Other times, I daren't say anything. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you haven't been too bored. I hope you've learned something. I hope you know, it's been a bit of entertainment for you. And like I say about the Beatles single, let's just keep an open mind till we've heard it. Yeah, that's the easiest thing to do, isn't it? If you keep an open mind, you won't be disappointed. If you've got a pre-context of what you think it's going to be, i.e. you think it's going to be absolute rubbish, then you probably won't even want to hear it. You know, so just keep an open mind, folks. You're all sensible people out there, aren't you? Well, I think you're sensible. I mean, are you sensible because you're watching my videos? Yeah, you're very sensible, aren't you? Right, okie dokie. I'm going to leave it there. So remember, I love you all. I think about you. And, you know, you're always in my thoughts. After today, unfortunately, you will not be getting a video for a while, because I'm back at the Fun Factory as of tomorrow, doing 8 days straight. 8 days a week, eh? Like the Beatles song. And it absolutely knackers me out when I do it. It really does. I think I'm getting too old. I've got to try and win that lottery. Alright, so until the next time, Beatle Dave loves you all. Over and out.